Welcome to the Fourth and Short podcast, a breakdown of the hottest topics on the Schuylkill League sports scene, with your hosts, Eli Doyle and Leroy Boyer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Week 3 of the T102sportsnow.com podcast, Fourth and Short. We are live on location at the Eagles Nest in Origsburg, home of the undefeated Blue Mountain Eagles, who are fresh off their 32-20 win over Southern Lehigh on this field this past Friday night. We are joined in the front row here, Gage Gears, Tyler Staley, Dylan Foose. Alongside me is head coach Tom Gallagher. This is Eli Doyle. I'm Leroy Boyer. Welcome to Week 3 of our podcast. Guys, we'll kind of start here. So, gigantic win, Coach Gallagher, for you Friday night. Second week in a row, you trail at one point in the second half and have the endurance and the stamina to come back and get victory. How satisfying as a coach is that viewpoint of it?
Yeah, you hit it on the head exactly. It's about endurance. We train for this stuff all off season. It starts in January, and then it carries all the way up until our preseason camp, and then even throughout the season we talk about it. We talk about the importance of not just physical endurance but mental endurance with staying together, understanding. These guys understand that obstacles, adversity, they're going to come our way throughout the game in different forms or fashion, whether it be, a bad call, maybe it's a turnover that we have, a penalty, something along those lines. It could even show up on the scoreboard like it has the last 2 weeks. Our job is to just stay together, stay strong, understand that we can overcome it if we stay together. And so far, these guys have done it back-to-back weeks, which is exciting as a coach to see.
Dylan Foose right here, this guy, two-way lineman, started last year as a freshman, now a sophomore. Hey, the line play, I saw your week 1 game. I thought the line play was the key in your win over Schuylkill Haven. Their line came in with a lot of hype and a lot of bigness and toughness and stuff, and you guys controlled the line of scrimmage. Talk about your line play, both offensively and defensively so far as a unit, and how you guys have meshed.
Yeah, on offense, we suffered 2 big losses in the year, Cole Wargo and Nick Beckfield, but we got over that. We just knew we had to play together. We have to stay together and communicate the whole time. On defense, we're good. We have Jaden and Brad, DNs. They're both doing really good this year, and we've been a pretty unstoppable force up front.
Tyler Staley's the guy in the middle. 27 carries, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs of 2 and 9. The 9-yard one at the end of the game, kind of the icing on the top of the cake. Tyler, talk about your big week and what was the key to being able to run the football against Southern Lehigh?
Definitely our O-line. They performed amazing. Gave me good holes to run through. Just the O-line. I gotta give all my props to the O-line.
Now, this is 2 weeks in a row now that you've had big games, when I would think that if I polled maybe 50 people who watched high school football in Schuylkill County and said, what team does Tyler Staley play for, they probably couldn't answer that question. Relatively unknown. Now I think everybody kind of knows who you are. Talk about, being the guy, stepping up here the first 2 weeks.
I mean, it feels great to finally get my opportunity to shine. It's just great to have it. I don't really know what else to say about that one. Just feels great.
The guy in the end is Gage Gears. He's not quiet. He is the vocal guy of this whole team. One of their vocal senior leaders on both sides of the ball. Standout defensive back, standout wide receiver. Gage, talk first of all about your offense. Talk about your new quarterback. He's not here with us. Brady Strauss has done well the first 2 games, over 200 yards both times. Talk about him, and from a receiver standpoint, how well the offense for Blue Mountain is clicking so far.
Yeah, so during the summer we were questionable about our QB situation, but I think both QBs who had the opportunity to play both stepped up. But Brady, through these first 2 games, have been throwing the ball really well, finding the right guys to throw to, and then also finding the right reads, along with just handing the ball off and everything, and then also running the ball. He's been doing a phenomenal job with everything. From a wide receiver standpoint, I mean, he's thrown me a touchdown already, which is great, and then he's already found a bunch of other wide receivers, which is different from the past couple of years because we haven't been able to spread the ball around. So I think he's doing a really good job, and offensively, we're just doing a great job overall. We're throwing the ball, running the ball really well. Offensive line, obviously, with the 2 new guys, they're doing a really good job, and then yeah, defensively, we're doing a fantastic job.
So defensively, you have 2 interceptions against Southern Lehigh. They came in with a highly touted tight end, Andrew Olish, going to Michigan. He made a couple big plays in their Week 1 win over Quakertown. You guys kind of contained him.
sir.
He had 6 catches and he had a lot of yards, but he didn't have the play, right? He didn't have the 50-yard touchdown. He didn't have, like your game against Schuylkill Haven, he didn't have a 66-yard slant down the middle that kind of turned things around. What was your approach to him and kind of containing Southern Lehigh's offense?
Honestly, the pass. They rely a lot on the pass. They're not much of a run-heavy deep or offense, but honestly, to play deep. They rely on the big plays. They don't really have much. If they don't get the big play, they don't have much offense. So, I mean, coaches talked about us all week to stop the big play, and we're going to be completely fine. With Andrew, I mean, he's a great player. Can't say he's not good, but yeah, we shut him down. We didn't give him the big play. He had one big play, which hurt us, but then we had a pretty good defensive session.
Coach Gallagher, so you have 3 kind of main cogs of your offense here. As a coach, that's got to be awesome that your passing game and your running game behind the offensive line play has really balanced everything out offensively for you so far. You're not run heavy, you're not pass heavy.
Yeah, it is a very good feeling for us to be as balanced as we've been to this point in the season. That was what we came into the summer, and we spent a lot of time in the off season focused on that so that we could be more balanced. We felt in the last few years teams really loaded the box against us for the right reasons. We had a nice rush attack, but we kind of lacked in our pass attack the last couple of years, and we felt that is what limited us, and it kind of prevented us from reaching where we wanted to go. So we spent a lot of time in the off season working to establish the balance that we've been fortunate enough to have this far. But it doesn't come by accident. It comes by the work that the kids have put in. They bought into what we're trying to do. Coach McGoey, Coach Bubek, Coach Kutz, all of our coaches have invested a lot of time in what we're doing, and our kids really have picked up on it, and they've done an excellent job so far executing the things that we are aiming to do. So hats off to everyone in our program that's involved with the balance that we found to this point.
Guys, for you guys, and any one of you can step up and answer this, just tell me what's been different about this year for you. Is there something that's maybe more exciting than the last year or something like that? Is there anything new, another wrinkle in the just grand scheme of Blue Mountain football?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Honestly, just being a senior, being able to lead my team has just honestly been a big step for us. I feel like the seniors around me as well have all taken a huge step in the part of like taking over the program. Honestly, I've been here 4 years, started 3 out of the 4 years, and I haven't felt energy anything like this the last 4 years. I mean, overall, the team's just played super well. We've bonded. I feel like the whole team in general, it's not just like grades that are bonded. We're all bonded as one family, I feel like.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing to hear. For you guys then too, is there any superstitions or anything going on pregame, that you feel like you got to do now? You guys are 2-0. You got to keep riding that wave. Any momentum? You feel like you just got to do any songs you got to play?
No, I feel like between these two guys, I feel like
he's thinking.
We don't.
I think a Dr. Feelgood. That's a good one.
I feel like the team overall doesn't have superstitions, but everybody has like individual.
Yeah. What about down in the D and offensive line?
No, I don't think we have any superstitions. We just know we got to get out there, fire off quick, and get going as soon as we can, not let them get any lead on us at all.
No pregame steak fries or anything like that?
That would be good, but I don't
They're
think...
stopping at the freeze before home games?
Don't give them any funny ideas.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to
What's it like, guys, to play on this field? We're sitting here at the Eagles Nest. Leroy Boyer, Eli Doyle, Dylan Foose, Tyler Staley, Gage Gears, Coach Tom Gallagher. Brand new facility here at the Eagles Nest, and maybe dating myself, but when they first built this field, and it wasn't too long before the grassy mound of dirt out here, there was a weekend that this field was totally destroyed from a rain game against Mount Carmel to an Anthracite Bowl Army-Navy game, and I'm not really sure if the field really kind of recovered after that year. But this is beautiful. I mean, just sitting here, I can't believe how nice this looks. It's got to be awesome to have something like this to call your own and to play on.
Yeah, so I mean, boosters and everybody who funded our field, I mean, they did an amazing job. We love it overall. The turf's awesome. I mean, it's super thick. Almost feels like you're running on grass. And honestly, the colorway, everything, and it's just great to play on a Friday night.
What do you think, guys?
I think it's a beautiful field. Exactly what Gage said.
Yeah, it's fun every Friday night under the lights there.
Best field around.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So as an offensive lineman, easier to play on turf or grass?
It's about the same, but I would say grass is a little bit easier because you get a little bit more traction for the most part.
Coach Gallagher, thoughts on week 3? You guys hit the road, kind of your first road trip, right? Schuylkill is not really a road trip. Half your kids have to go by there to get here to get on the bus to go over there. Talk about going to Jim Thorpe. Strange place to play up there on top of the hill. Weird things happen there. They're a club that won their opener, but then lost to Pottsville. Pretty tough loss last week, 48-7. Talk about Jim Thorpe. What scares you? What about them sticks out?
Sure, I know Coach Rosenberger. He's a wonderful coach. I know he's going to have his club ready to play. So that by no means are we looking past this, or by no means are we preparing any differently than we would against any other opponent. Like you said, it's a tough place to play. It's a bit of a drive. They have a beautiful facility as well. And I know that they're going to be eager for a win because, like you said, they lose 48-7 after a big win. They're at a point right now where they want to make sure that they can salvage their season. So they're going to come out. They're going to treat this like it's the biggest game of their lives, and I know that that's what they're preaching. So for our guys, we need to dial in. We got to approach this week of practice where we're coming in and we are to the detail getting done what we have to do, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. Our focus can't wander, okay? We can't get caught up in what we've done the last 2 weeks and start believing how wonderful we are, how good we are. We can't get lost in that because we would not be here right now if we didn't prepare with that kind of focus the first 2 weeks. Nothing changes. Show up, you do what you got to do, and you get ready for week 3. Play football at the end of the day. That's all that we really have to do here.
Guys, we just watched your practice here at the Eagles Nest. Tuesday after a 3-day weekend, those sprints weren't good at the end, were they?
Hey, they're fun. They're fun. I mean, as much as they hurt, I mean, they're necessary. It helps our team get better. So.
How tough is it to do those, Dylan, after a long practice? Some of your linemen do pretty well.
Yeah. Everybody gives it their all. I mean, everybody's out there trying during the sprints, and everybody's running full sun, 100%. We're all trying to get better out there and make sure we can condition so we can stay ready for every game that we play.
Coach Gal, they aren't your stragglers running around back there, are they? We don't have any little Gallaghers yet running around, do we?
We do not.
Okay.
We do
I
not.
was just checking to make sure. For you guys, what are the expectations? What are the goals you're setting for yourself for the rest of the year?
I mean, 10-0, obviously, 10-0 for the regular season. But right now, our focus is on the next week. So we got to win against Jim Thorpe, and then after that, we'll focus on the next week, and then next week, and then next week, and then hopefully go 10-0, and then go into the playoff season.
We won't look too far ahead, but it's been a while since they've won a playoff game here at Blue Mountain. I would think that would probably be one of your goals. We'll talk to you on week 9 and 10 about that. How's that for you?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you're watching the 4th and Short podcast here on T102sportsnow.com and on YouTube. Check out our other videos from the games that we cover. Weekly coverage by 12:30, 1 o'clock of all of our area teams all the time on T102sportsnow.com. This is the 4th and Short podcast. Once again, guys, thanks from Blue Mountain. Gage Gears, Tyler Staley, Dylan Foose. This is Coach Tom Gallagher. Check them out this week. They're at Jim Thorpe. You'll get live coverage of that on our website after the game. Guys, thanks for joining us, and thanks to be a part of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome back to week 3 of the T102sportsnow.com podcast, 4th and Short. I'm Leroy Boyer. This is Eli Doyle. Shout out to the kids and the coaches from Blue Mountain who we had on today. Gave us some Blue Mountain paraphernalia, Blue Mountain hat.
Shout out to Coach Gal coming through with the shirt finally.
Eli got his Blue Mountain shirt after he was the only, I think you were the only guy to pick Blue Mountain this week. Said it on the podcast last week, said it on the radio show as well. He was the guy that believed in Eagles, and they made sure that his pick didn't go wasted there. Let's rattle through the week 2 scores real quick, and we'll talk about week 2 quick, and then we'll look ahead to week 3. So in week 2 in the Red Division, it was opening night of league play in the Schuylkill Colonial Cooperative. All 3 divisions, everybody involved in league play from here on out. No non-league games left, only league contests. In the Red Division, it was Lehighton 33, Bangor 7. Northwestern Lehigh 56, Northern Lehigh 7. Pottsville gets its first win, 48-7 over Jim Thorpe. Tamaqua beats North Schuylkill 35-17. And as we said before, Blue Mountain beats Southern Lehigh 32-20. In the White Division, it was Penargil 24, Palmerton 7, Notre Dame Green Pond 56, Salisbury 0, Saucon Valley 35, Palisades 14, and Catasauqua 34, Wilson area 14. In the blue division, Williams Valley stays unbeaten. They beat Mono area 48-6. Tri-Valley's also 2-0. They beat Marion 24-0. Cole Gemberling 3 touchdowns. Minersville also undefeated, also unscored upon. They beat Shenandoah Valley 44-0. Dante Carr becomes the school's all-time leader in touchdown passes. Schuylkill Haven blanks Panther Valley 57-0. Freshman kid at the end of the game goes 95 yards for a touchdown. Nativity beats Pine Grove 53-7. The Green Wave beats Pine Grove. They score 53 points in the first half, ring the bell at St. Clair.
Hey,
they're 2-0.
At least you call them the Hilltoppers and not the Green Machine, right?
That's correct. Nativity has a million nicknames. I always call them the Hilltoppers. Green Wave works for me. Of those scores, Eli, what sticks out? I mean, obviously Tamaqua. We saw Tamaqua in week 1 at Penn Argyl, and they look good. They look good. And you saw North Schuylkill in week 1 as well. Did it shock you a little bit to Tamaqua wins that convincingly?
I wouldn't say it shocked me. I'll tell you what. I had a lot of kids at school at Minersville ask me all week about that game last week, and I told them Luke Kane is the real deal. He does some things, extends some plays, moves around well with his feet, well enough to extend, and get big plays downfield and make things happen, right? And they also have some weapons there. I mean, the Schlosser kid, he is having an impeccable year so far. Had a big game against Penn Argyl, had another big game against North Schuylkill. I think there's a lot of things going well for Tamaqua, and it doesn't surprise me at all that they came away with a win against North Schuylkill.
Yeah, I was impressed with Tamaqua's ability to run the football. I don't have numbers here in front of me, but Bradley Whalen had a big week. He's their grinder back. He's not flashy. He's not going to break off 80 yards or 85-yard runs during the course of the game, but he's going to get you the 5, 6, 7, 8 yards of carry that wears defenses down, that gains momentum, that gets your offense confidence. I was impressed with him against Penn Argyl. Even though Schlosser had the big numbers and the big plays, Whalen did a nice job in that game, and he had a big game against North Schuylkill. Another game that sticks out is Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley beats Marion 24-0. Those two teams played twice last year. They played during the regular season. Tri-Valley won in Higgins. They played in the playoffs. Marion won in hometown. So both games were within a touchdown, 10-point games. They were tight the whole way. Tri-Valley dominated this game from start to finish. Cole Gemberling, who was kind of a non-factor in week 1 for them in the win over York Catholic, has a big game for Tri-Valley, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I picked Tri-Valley to win, so I'm of course happy on that end about it. But we're fans of Marion coach Billy O'Gork on here in his first year taking over up at Marion. For me, I honestly, the only thing it came down to for me between that game was I thought maybe experience played into it a little bit. And, that's not to knock anybody at all. Of course, Billy O'Gork does a great job. He's been there for a long time. He was kind of groomed to take over for that program from Stan DeCosti. So for me, it was just, if there was that one minor incident in the game that could have affected it, was Tri-Valley quicker to execute than maybe Marion was. And that's just how I looked at it going in. Obviously, I didn't see that game. I haven't seen Tri-Valley or Marion yet this year. But I'm excited for the Dogs. I mean, starting off the season 2-0, I don't think a ton of people had that on their card for them. Yeah, I mean, York Catholic, they had some success, not maybe last year or the year before, but 2021, I think they won a district title there. So it's not a bad program. To go down there and get a win week 1 was a big plus for them, good confidence builder. And then to come home in your home opener to beat Marion as convincing as it did, that's a big win for Tri-Valley. Kudos to the Dogs. I'll tell you what, Leroy, another one that stuck out to me were the 2 one-sided blowout games on there that really stuck out in the smaller school division. Nativity going up big on Pine Grove and Minersville going up big over Shenandoah. It's not so much the quality of the win that impresses me as much as the figure and the fact that they held them scoreless. You mentioned when you talked about Minersville earlier, unscored upon so far this year. I think that's something that Coach France and the Battle of Miners are priding themselves on right now, and I think that's something they want to continue. Shout out to the Cass Township Condors. I forget what year that was. 1957. Unscored upon. Still the only team that's ever happened to. Did a story on them several years ago. They had a reunion. Those guys were awesome. Will we ever see that again? Probably not. Different era of football and the way points are scored and how quickly sometimes. But that Cass Township game, I'm sure there was a lot of people that mentioned that when they saw that Minersville had still not given up a point. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that sticks out to me
there's a gigantic gap in the blue division between the haves and the have-nots. And you see that on a weekly basis. I mean, 53-7, 57-0, 44-0, 48-6. There's going to be a lot of games like that in the blue division. We're eventually going to see games, though, that have two of those better teams square off. And we usually get one a week. This week was Tri-Valley Marion. This week coming up, Williams Valley Nativity is one. So I think we're going to get some slobber knocker games there in that blue division. But there's going to be at least one or two games a week there that, you better get your food at the concession stand early. The band will not have a lot of time in the third quarter to eat when they go on their break, because the third quarter will be a running clock. And that's a shame for some of those programs, but that's just the reality of it at the moment.
I think the last one, I don't know, the only, I think, Schuylkill County team we have yet to mention on there, we didn't go over Williams Valley Monterey too in depth, but Pottsville, Jim Thorpe, I mean, does that number stick out to you at all? I'm
not surprised Pottsville won. I am surprised by the score. I teach at Pottsville now. I have Andrew Allen in my homeroom, and when we talk football a lot. In fact, you can see Bob Lipsky's interview with Andrew Allen for that story this past week on T102sportsnow.com. Great kid, and he's done a great job running that offense. We talked in school all week about, hey, Pottsville's got to run the football to beat Jim Thorpe, and they were able to do that. Juju Brainbridge had a big game. Pottsville's offensive line dominated the line of scrimmage, had a big game.
Another name you might not know
Mike
of.
Brennan, first win.
Another name you might not know of, I saw come across that box score, was Evan Galavage.
Yes. He brings the speed element to that offense. Bainbridge's numbers, if I can find them here real quick, maybe not. Nope.
That's Lee Heighton.
Nope, I don't have Pottsville's box score. They rushed the football and they rushed for it a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a big win for Pottsville. Let's talk week 3, because it's a perfect segue into week 3 and some of the games, because Pottsville is one of those games this week that is an interesting on the schedule. So the schedule starts Thursday. Panther Valley at Marion in the blue division, Northwestern Lehigh at Bangor, Northwestern Lehigh. They'll be here week 4 at the Eagles Nest to play Blue Mountain. That should be a heck of a ball game. Friday night, Tamaqua was at Pottsville. You can hear that game on WPPA and A106. Blue Mountains at Jim Thorpe, as we said before. Lehighton's at Southern Lehigh. And the T102 game of the week is Notre Dame Green Pond and their high-flying offense at North Schuylkill. All those games start at 7 o'clock. In the blue division, Mono is at Minersville. It's military appreciation game at Minersville. Always wear cool jerseys that night. Shenandoah Valley's at Schuylkill Haven. It's a 7:30 start, and they're having the Schuylkill Haven 100th season of football celebration. All alumni and anybody that's basically been a part of that program over the past 100 years is invited to be there at 7 o'clock for a walkout on the field and a celebration at that time. Tri-Valley's at Pine Grove, and Williams Valley's at Nativity. There is one game on Saturday. It's a white division game. Northern Lehigh's at Penn Argyl. That's an interesting tussle in the white division. What game sticks out for you there?
Ooh, I'll tell you what. Green Pond going up to North Schuylkill. Let me give you a little advice after being at North Schuylkill once and knowing some things about Green Pond. Don't blink, because you might miss something. Either of these teams may be able to score on a number of plays you can count on one hand, okay, on any given drive. I know I've seen firsthand the speed of Luke Miller. All that offensive line needs to do is give him the most minimal space. He'll make it happen. Obviously, their quarterback, Caden Mangle, is experienced now and is having a pretty good year to start. And, in the backfield, they have another guy. His name's escaping me, the fullback. Colton Joyce, that's who it is. He grounds and pounds, kind of like what you said about Tamaqua earlier. With not only having speed but having the element of the ground and pound in the middle. That game really excites me.
So Notre Dame Green Pond. My brother coaches lacrosse at Garden Spot, who was Notre Dame Green Pond's first opponent. That game ended 71-64. Garden Spot's pretty good. Northwestern Lehigh scored 71 points in their opener. 56 last week. They've scored 127 points in 2 games. That's by far is the most of anybody in the whole cooperative. Northwestern Lehigh has 103. Nativity has 105. A trivia question that no one could probably answer. would be, when was the last time Nativity scored 50 or more points in back-to-back games? Probably never. I'm not really sure if that has ever happened. So kudos there. But yeah, Notre Dame, Phil Stanbaugh is a great coach, and them and the Crusaders and the Spartans, they've played some wars, playoff games, unbeaten clashes over the past decade. I can't recall Notre Dame ever coming to North Schuylkill though. All those games were down in Lehigh Valley, in that little stadium with the bagpipers coming out. It's not going to be the case. It'll be interesting to see how that game ends up on turf.
Yeah.
With Notre Dame Green Pond and North Schuylkill.
And it goes to mention too. I mean, I can't speak for the first two opponents of Green Pond this year, but Wally Hall is going to have that defense ready to play. Okay, they're not looking to give up 40 points or more. That's just the North Schuylkill way, it feels like.
Yeah, and losing to Tamaqua, I'm sure there's some angry Spartans up there this week, and if their practices was as tough as Blue Mountains was that we just watched out here, I'm sure they'll be ready Friday night. Pottsville at Tamaqua. So Pottsville comes home, gets the running game going, home opener, all excited, everybody excited, gets a big win. At the same time, Tamaqua now 2-0 at home. The game's at Pottsville. So, it's just an interesting game. There's a lot of dynamic there. How does Pottsville use the momentum and the confidence from week one? How does Tamaqua do that? Line play, I think, has got to be the key here. I mean, Tamaqua's line has done a great job. I really like their linebackers on defensively. Tyler Cuck, Luke Fraunheiser, Luke Kane. Those guys in the middle. I'm missing a guy. I can't think of the fourth guy off the top of my head. But those linebackers really flow to the ball. And that's going to be an interesting development between Tamaqua's defense and Pottsville's offensive line in their running game.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head there, Leroy. This game's going to be won and lost in the trenches. It's going to be won and lost up front. I think that, of course, is the first and foremost thing. The other thing is we keep hearing about these Pottsville receivers and the speed they have on the outside. If that's something, I don't think Tamaqua comes into the game, overestimating or underestimating for that matter. I think that could be a problem, right?
Ty Curry, one of the top receivers in the area so far.
Yeah. And the other thing, another kid that stuck out to me on the Pottsville side, I've seen some videos floating around Instagram. Talil Flucker-White. I saw they moved him in the backfield for a goal line play, and he blew a kid up.
He's a big kid.
Yeah, it was
great personality too.
Yeah. What sticks out for you this week, Leroy?
We talked about the small schools and the haves and the have-nots. Well, all right. So Nativity throws up 52 against Holy Redeemer, 53 against Pine Grove. Williams Valley's coming to St. Clair. You can read, if you haven't read it already, I'm not sure when we're putting this on, but on Wednesday on the T102sportsnow.com, this week's Boyer's Bulletin talks about St. Clair's Veterans Memorial Stadium and the upgrades they've made there. They paved the track. They redid the outside and the inside of the first press box. They built a new press box on the visiting sidelines that they use for coaches and the teams to use, so they're high above and they can call plays and they're not headsets in the middle of the bleachers. They put a brand new scoreboard in. They did some modifications, to the locker rooms and the shower areas that are not 1935 or whenever that stadium was built. They made some major upgrades there, and Nativity, has done a great job 2 weeks in a row. Williams Valley has played just as well as anybody. I mean, win over Upper Dauphin on the road was key, and then Gary Collins' night out there in Williamstown on Friday. They honored former NFL great. He was there. His family was there. Retired his number 44 jersey that he wore for the Williamstown Rams. He went on to Maryland. Played 10 years with the Cleveland Browns. Big night, big atmosphere, and a big win for the Vikings. Fletcher Thompson's freshman running back. He's had 2 games, 92 and 120 some yards. That game shaping up to be, tooth and nail battle to the end.
I was just gonna say a car wreck in a good way. And I really think that might steal the spotlight of the week. I think that could be obviously a contender for game of the week. I think if either of those teams give an inch, it could cost them, basically. We know just 2 weeks in already, Noah Dalbin could potentially go for a touchdown on any given play, and that's just scraping the top of the Green Wave's weapons. What do you have about this game specifically?
I saw Nativity on Friday night. Congratulations, Pat Mason, on his 100th career victory. Nativity dominated that game in the first half. It was like almost an awe. Like I couldn't believe. I didn't know if it was Nativity was that good or Pine Grove was that bad, or it was a combination of both. There was a stretch of about 6 plays where Nativity scored 4 times. A pick 6, then a quick 3 and out, then a touchdown. Then a pick 6 for a touchdown. And then a pass to Dalbin with no safety in the middle of the field, one-on-one with a cornerback who was about 6 inches shorter than him. One bump, slant over the middle. Kreitzer just had to throw it up there. Ben Kreitzer's done a great job so far. I think he's 10 of 11 for 300-some yards. The one incompletion was just a ball that, somebody ran the wrong route or something. It just wasn't.
A miscue.
It was a miscue.
Yeah.
But he's had time to throw, which I think Williams Valley needs to eliminate. There was only one time in that whole game on Friday where he was really pressured, and he made a great throw over the middle to, I think it was Spolsky. Might have been Sam Walborn coming out of the backfield on a route over the middle. Nativity has a lot of weapons. Spolsky in the backfield, Walborn in the backfield, Dalbin on the outside, Mikey Stank everywhere. Speed element. They really didn't use Stank that much. He scored 2 touchdowns. They really didn't use him. It was his first game because he missed the first week due to a college visit. So there's film now on both of these teams. Each team has, knows what the air team's going to do. So there was some games several years ago that were 1 point, 3 point, 4 point games between these teams when Cody Miller was the quarterback at Nativity. And I really think that this game's going to be, I'm excited to see who emerges victorious because they put themselves in the driver's seat there in that division a little bit. There's going to be some tussles, Minersville, Haven, Williams Valley, Tri-Valley, Nativity. I think, those 5 teams, when they play one another, are going to be great games.
Hey, how about on the flip side of that Nativity game you just talked about, where the Pine Grove Cardinals, they're hosting Tri-Valley this week. When was the last time that game happened?
Well, it happened about maybe 8 years ago, when the 2 teams were in the Tri-Valley League Conference. It was called the Tri-Valley League Conference, and that there's some kind of rivalry. There used to be a trophy that they gave out in that game. They have not given it out because they haven't played. When there was the Schuylkill League division, when it came to the Schuylkill League, that's when it stopped. Pine Grove was in Division 1, Tri-Valley was in Division 2, and I'm pretty sure the rivalry ended at that point. But interesting to see. Those 2 teams are kind of border rivals from the Tri-Valley, old Tri-Valley League, so that'll be, a good game. You can't go wrong with a game at Pine Grove.
Absolutely.
Food's great out there. Atmosphere is great. Put a little video of the Pine Grove band on the T102 sportsnow.com Facebook page. If anything, it doesn't matter what the quality of the football is on the field. Pine Grove's band makes it a ticket worth buying every time that you go to a Pine Grove game. Shout out to all the boys and girls and everybody else involved, managers, coaches, assistants that put that together. Kenny Gibson does a great job as the band director at Pine Grove. Always a joy to see them play, no matter where it is. In Nativity, the field was a little different. I don't think they had all the gizmos, is what we'll call it, that they usually have at home.
Yeah.
The high-tech stuff, the other stuff that they throw into their show. It's worth seeing, trust me. Final thoughts here as we go to week 3.
I'm like I said, I say this every week. I'm excited. We're still in the hunt in the middle of football season. There's a lot of good games. There's a lot of great football being played. I'm interested to see this week. Do our perennial contenders that we kind of envision in our mind, do they take another step? Okay, who comes out victorious between Nativity and Williams Valley? Can Blue Mountain keep that momentum rolling? Is this the beginning of the rising tide that I'm hearing at Pottsville? That kind of thing. What about you, Leroy? What sticks out for you?
I'm curious to see how Tamaqua comes off the big win. And Pottsville comes off the big win. What they look like in week 3 compared to what they look like in week 2. Really curious to see Williams Valley. I'm curious to see them in person, and that's going to happen very soon. Nativity, I was impressed with everything that Nativity did in the first half of that game. How that matches up against Williams Valley will be interesting to see. And there's some teams are going to roll along this week. Minersville, Schuylkill Haven, Tri-Valley, all expected to post W's there. North Schuylkill, that's a dogfight for those 4 playoff spots in AAA. There's only 4. 1 and 2 out of the gate's not going to bode well for the Spartans because in that red division, every game is a tough one. Lehighton loses to Northern Lehigh in week 1. We all thought, Bangor will beat them in week 2. Thursday night lights down there. We were all wrong. Chazzy was impressed with Lehighton, impressed with their athleticism and their size. How does that match up against the Southern Lehigh team that Blue Mountain had that was a good slobber knocker for 3+ quarters until Blue Mountain emerged victorious. And Blue Mountain can't look ahead. We're live here at the Eagles Nest. Blue Mountain can't afford to look ahead to Northwestern Lehigh. Jim Thorpe threw a lot of points. They have big weapons on the outside. They have a quarterback who can do everything. So it'd be interesting to see. Get coverage of all of Week 3's high school football action. I'll be at Marion on Thursday night to see them play Panther Valley. I will be at North Schuylkill with Chaz Hepler, T102 game of the week. I'll be on the radio this week, Eli. I know, how about that? I'll be on the radio and covering the game. Eli will be venturing up the hill to Carbon County to follow the Eagles. Shout out again to their guys who were here for our podcast. Week 3, still looking for this could be your podcast on T102 Sports Now. No one has stepped up to the plate. Have some feelers, have some people expressed interest. Still don't have any, 6-year, $72 million Major League Baseball contracts.
I'm looking for an NBA contract, let's be honest.
I like the baseball ones because you can't, once you get paid, you get paid. If they cut you after a year, you still get paid.
And that's why you're the brains of this operation. I'm just the face.
That's good. Check us out, T102sportsnow.com. Thanks for watching.